All right, morning everyone. I believe I am live. This is an unplanned stream. We are back for our last I guess, in-class session here in Bali for the Financial Summit. I took a break from Twitter. I took a break from YouTube. This event has been absolutely incredible. And finally, after a week of discussing everything, I want to take a look at the charts of Bitcoin. Might as well do a very quick stream. And we do have all the people in the room, and I will give them a chance to ask questions to me. And then from there, we're going to cut the live stream, and then we're going to continue on with the discussion where we're all going to talk about what we all think about Bitcoin, because so many people here are incredibly smart, and I'm learning from them. All right, we're going straight to screen share. And I'll try to do another stream tomorrow by interviewing people here. The event has crushed my expectations, and I'm not able to load the conference website. There it is. This is the event we are on. You guys can see our agenda, and we did post it publicly on the conference website. If you scroll all the way down, you can see the agenda. You can see what was discussed. Well, we stuck mostly to it. But this is what to expect for future events. Okay, let's go to the charts. Here's the weekly chart, and we are on a weekly 9. Now, this is a very tricky weekly 9, where normally you want the 9 reversal candle. When a 9 is not a reversal candle, so my best analogy for this particular 9 candle for this week, which still has, a couple of days to go. Today is Thursday, so we're only halfway through the week, a little more than halfway through the week. And to me, this is kind of reminiscent of this 9 that took the market to the upside the week of April 1st. And that led to 3 to 4 candles of consolidation, and then a big breakout for Bitcoin to go to the upside. I am, of course, concerned that this is going to be repeated, but in the opposite direction. I can certainly see the price of Bitcoin consolidating between this this 50-week moving average and this 7-week moving average, basically like this last one, but upside down. This is the kind of 9 that you want to see, anticipating a reversal. Now, I expected this reversal to be deeper, taking us all the way back to the 50-period moving average, creating a very good buy the dip. Because that didn't happen, it made me nervous all throughout the bull run to 14,000 that we're now continuing to deleverage from. So as of right now, what would I say about the weekly chart? If you were short the weekly chart, this is the week to take your profit from your short. If you were not short this weekly chart and you were in cash, potentially this weekly 9 could be a buying opportunity, but the current environment is not telling me that yet. It can be if there is strength later this week, going into the weekend, or next week we fall down to the $6,800 area, creating maybe a daily buying opportunity, because you can see right here on the daily chart, we just started a brand new count. We're about to get not a classical depth cross. It's only the 50 well, it is the 50 going under the 200. So actually it is a classical depth cross with the 200 rising. So I didn't realize that that was my 128. But the daily chart, again, as a sequential trader, is only on a red 2. Here's what I mean about these giant 9 candles. When you have this giant 9 candle, you can see how it led to a lot of consolidation. We consolidated for a month until dropping big time yesterday. And now we can consolidate for a day or two and then go down. So I can certainly see a daily 9 coming in the $6,800, $6,900 range, creating a beautiful buying opportunity in combination with a daily 9 and the weekly candle following the 9 bouncing off the 200-period moving average. So I can certainly see that scenario. I have not touched these arrows at all. These arrows have been there. I felt that the market could move up to the bottom of the triangle in the $9,500 range before dropping to 7,000. By not being able to do that, it tells me that Bitcoin was even weaker than I gave it credit at back at the end of September when we fell to the low 8,000s. So that is actually not a bullish sign. Anytime your asset can't have a proper dead cat bounce, it means it's even weaker and can go even lower. But the opposite is also true. Anytime your asset is rising without a clean by the dip situation, like over here on the first week of June, a clean by the dip would have been a fall back to the mid $5,000 range. That didn't happen, and that created this current, bigger drop, in my opinion. The clean pullbacks you want to see are these. When we went up December of 2016, and that was followed by a nasty 2-week correction where from the high of 1150, you fell all the way to 750. That is a monster 40% correction. And here's another one a month or two later. So these are the kinds of clean pullbacks. And here's another one from 3,000 to 1,800. I even felt this one should have been a little bit deeper. But 3 to 1,800, that's almost 50%. But that's a clean 50% in a slow, orderly uptrend. This is, you go up maybe 100%, then you fall 40. You go up, 60, 70%, you fall 40. We went up 300%. So my expectation be without a pullback of 40. So now I'm anticipating 70%, 80%, something really, really nasty. It doesn't have to happen. We just got to make it past the halving, okay? I don't really want to go into the smaller level time frames. The 12-hour chart got back in the range, broke down, still has room to the downside. The 4-hour chart has a little bit of promise right now, but we already hit our 9 on a 4-hour. We're in the middle of a 1 to 4 candle correction of the 4-hour 9. We're actually staying above the middle of this downward channel, but this downward channel remains pretty perfect. And the longer we delay hitting the bottom of the channel, the lower the bottom of the channel is. If we delay hitting the bottom of the channel into November 8th, you're looking at a $4,500 Bitcoin if it goes to the bottom of the channel, which I still think has a slightly more than a 50% chance to do so. We will see, okay? What would I like to see personally, even though it will be scary? I want to see Bitcoin fall to the $4,000 range this year for the clean buy the dip situation, and then be above $10,000 next year before the end of the year, and then breaking 20K in 2022 with another big pump, to the $50,000 range or higher going into the halving of 2024. That would be the perfect scenario for me personally. We will see if that happens. What I want and what will happen are totally independent. Okay, that's it for my thoughts on Bitcoin. There was actually enough altcoin talk here as well. People were presenting their strategies and altcoins. I found them very, very interesting. It was great to talk to people. Gold has not really done anything. Gold is actually very similar to Bitcoin. It went straight up an unreasonable amount, relatively speaking, to gold, and it's now paying for that with a pullback. Not really much to say there. And the daily S&P 500, everyone is once again coming up with reasons why it's about to crash. I see nothing here. This is a consolidation with a 9. You have a green 1. If Monday we are breaking above the green 1, I become a huge bull in the daily S&P 500. Here's your weekly S&P 500, and it looks identical. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Can this be any more identical? The daily S&P 500, a slightly lower third high, but too slightly lower to really consider it to me, this is not, this is not something that I would worry about. Me personally, could be wrong. Um, I want to go long because I think these highs are going to be broken probably this year. Okay, and the weekly couldn't look any similar. Here's a very similar look on the weekly. This one is rising, so this one is even cleaner. And next week there is a green two above a green one weekly, a green two above a green one daily. I couldn't ask for more things to line up. I did a session on retirement money allocation, and I would be my equity bucket in my retirement allocation would be 100% invested in the equity space. And if I allocated my portfolio, how much of my retirement should be in the equity space, I may have that pretty damn high, even above 60%, like what I discussed earlier. All right, guys, I'm not gonna go through any stock names. I'm gonna open the floor to the people in the room sitting in front of me. Let's take no more than 15 minutes. Ask any questions you like. Grab a mic. We have someone also walking around with the mic. Any questions at me, then we'll cut the live stream, and then we will talk between ourselves, and I will ask you guys what you think about the price of Bitcoin, and that's where we're headed. All right. First person, I'll keep the names out of it. Everyone here got to know each other really well. I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to say it on a live stream while you're all here. This has been an incredible event. I don't know if this can be topped. It's like it's almost a mic drop. Should never happen again, but it will. Let's do it. Yep. I will repeat the question. The question is it possible that because everyone knows when the Bitcoin halving is, that it's already discounted into the price? And the answer is always yes. The halving of 2020 is already reflected in the price. And I know it's reflected in the price based on the hodling positions of Bitcoin. Willy Woo's on-chain analysis. Willy Woo spent 3 hours talking about on-chain analysis. It was an incredible presentation. Everybody was here for it. And it's already there. And because of the halving of 2020, this is why I'm such a bear on altcoins having a long-term future. Sure, they can pump, and Da Vinci did a great job of explaining his trading strategy, which is very interesting. So it's in there, right? But it's hard to know whether there'll be a pump over it. It's, these things are like momentum driven. Did we already exhaust the hype of the 2020 halving by topping out at 14,000? Or will we have one more early in the year? Will we continue to go down into, let's say, late December or early January? Make a low. Let's say I'm right about my $5,000 area, $4,000 area. And then we pump into the halving. How big would that pump be? Would it go all the way to 18,000? Or would it only go to, say, 12,000, and then people are going to get exhausted and say, hey, Bitcoin is halving. There's not going to be enough miners are going to start to shut down. Bitcoin's not secure. Someone was sending around an article. Google found a way to do, what do you call them? The computers, the quantum computers, and they're going to destroy Bitcoin. I honestly think over the next 4 years, there's going to be a coordinated fear that quantum computers are going to destroy Bitcoin. And that could be the rise of the quantum resistant shitcoin. I can completely see that, and we already have some, right? I mean, people get on this stuff early. Even something like MaxCoin. MaxCoin was designed as SHA-3 back in 2014 for the purposes of being
quantum computer resistant. So I can see other coins, those that have been around for like maybe not 10 years, but 5 years, saying, hey, we've been around for 5 years and they've been hacked. Let's time to repump. And new ones that are like, I solved the quantum computer problem. So I can definitely see that, and I can see Bitcoin suffering from that, and then reality will once again take over. So all of this stuff is always priced in and never priced in at the same time. It's like Schrodinger's cat, basically. I don't know if that answers your question, but did my best. All right, next. All right, I will also add, going into the last halving, so since no one's asking the next question, and I was 100% right in my prediction going to the next halving. So if I go to the daily chart, I can't believe it's been 4 years since the last halving, almost. So I have to go back to 2019. We're going back 4 years to 2015. Actually, I'll go back 2016. Hopefully it'll take me there. All right, let's do that. There it is. So this was the pump. This was the halving pump. And back in December of 2015, I remember being at a conference. Wow, those aren't clean candles at all. The Bitstamp was not very liquid. I was at a conference in December. It wasn't recorded, unfortunately. There was an article by Kyle Torpy. So back in December, the conference was in San Diego. It was around this time. It was late December. It was December 2015 conference inside Bitcoin San Diego. Price of Bitcoin was just under $500. It was hovering around 450. And here's what I said then that couldn't be any more true. I said, going into the halving, there's going to be a big pump. And we had about 100% rise in May with the halving in July. I also said that I expected Bitcoin to top out before the halving. So as the halving is coming, people are already taking their profit because it would overshoot. So I was right. And the other thing that I said was that I can also see an extended period of time where Bitcoin continues to drop after the halving. And my explanation at the time was the following. A mining operation has to run a business. And if your business knows for a fact that as of July 6th, it will make half the revenue, your bills do not get cut in half. Your weekly, monthly expenses, your salaries, your electricity cost does not get cut in half, but your revenue does. So as a responsible business, if you had a schedule of how often you sell your mined Bitcoin leading into the halving, in the last 6 months, like a fisherman, you gotta learn to save your fish to build a better net. You gotta ration the Bitcoin that you're mining at 25 Bitcoins per block. And in the last 6 months, you need to sell less. So as a miner, you are hodling more Bitcoin. And the extra Bitcoin that you're hodling, like teaching someone to fish. See, you gotta hodl your fish to teach someone else to fish. And then this is why I said after the halving, miners will be selling more than 12.5 Bitcoin per block that they're mining because they ration the Bitcoin to smooth their operations. So I don't see why you can't anticipate the same thing. Miners that are currently mining 12.5 Bitcoin need to be bigger hodlers now to sell that Bitcoin after the halving to smooth out the operation. All right. Next question. And if there's no question, we'll cut the live stream. And I want to ask you guys what you all think about the price of Bitcoin, because the amount of smart people in this room is absolutely successful. Smart people in this room is absolutely incredible. All right, next person up. Good question. So the question is specifically about yesterday's drop. I was, yeah, it was interesting. It happened during our pig roast dinner. The big drop. And Joe did a little video on it as it was happening. Let me look at the lower level time frames about the drop. Yeah. So we have to go to the lower level time frames. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. See if the 4-hour chart was useful with my systems. And for me personally, it would have been tricky using the 4-hour chart because I love shorting the break of support. This is a gorgeous break of support. The problem for me is that it's breaking on a 6 and not a 2 or a 3. So it is possible that I might not have, if I was live trading this, it's possible I may have stayed away from it only because of that. And I would have been pretty upset about not taking the short. But sequential on a 4-hour is not useful. I'll be the first and last to admit it. But the general principles of trading, of shorting this area is a very good trade, and it has nothing to do with sequential, and it just has to do with momentum trading. Let's look at a lower level time frame. This happens to be the 15-minute, and same exact situation on a 15-minute. It's a break of support, but the sequential is not lined up for that. And the sequential is really useful at marking tops. It's not as useful for breakouts and breakdowns. I use it for breakouts and breakdowns as well, but it's really designed for picking peaks and troughs. And that's how Tom DeMark designed it. I was the one that was using it quite often to trade breakouts and breakdowns, but they have to align. And if they don't align on 2s and 3s, it's hard for me to utilize sequential in the breakout. And in fact, sometimes it prevents me from taking a good trade. So that's the double-edged sword. If you have a system, if you're a breakout momentum trader, and then you add another system to it, it could be great when they align, but it contradicts you when they don't. So for the extra good trades that you get, you also stay out of the market on some of the other trades you would have made with one or the other. So that's the double-edged sword you're dealing with. I can try the 1-hour time frame and see if there was anything there, but I would say I doubt it. Yeah, so the 1-hour time frame was a little bit better, but again, not perfect. I have this double 9 on a 1-hour chart after topping on a 9 right before the big drop, like a day or two before, or a day before, 22nd. The drop comes 23rd. And you have this 9, you have a 1 to 4 candle correction, ran a little bit longer than that. And the big drop came on a red 1, not a red 2 going below the red 1 below support. But this is also Bitstamp. You know, if we change this to Coinbase or something else, that could have been a red 2 below a red 1, perfectly breaking support, giving you a nice continuation trade. So it really depends on your tools. Personally, I've been looking for this. I'm sure there's videos of me from weeks ago that say, how ironic would it be if the swing low comes in during the Bali event, and it looks like it has, unless we go lower next week, which I honestly think is very, very likely. All right, next question. Though we are the half an hour in, I think it's good to call it here. Once again, guys, if you're curious what happened here at the Bali event, There are some pictures. We wanted to keep people's, privacy and keep it away from the internet. But you can see the general agenda. Maybe we'll redo the agenda in hindsight to how it actually went down and show it for those that want to come to this event next year. It will probably be 6 months from now in the Caribbean. My team and I and the people here will discuss. I'm sure I'm expecting many people here to be back because it's just absolutely incredible. I continue thinking about Tyler and how this would have made his decade being here. Just an incredible event. All right, guys. That's pretty much it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll try to bring you a stream tomorrow, probably from my terrace overlooking the ocean, and then another stream a little bit in the afternoon during brunch. And I'll try to get all of the people that you are familiar with to come on a stream and say a few words. Willie, Benzen, Ugly, Socrates, Joe, maybe others that want to say something, and we'll do it. Thank you so much for watching.